The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
So as we just discussed, there is a ton of excitement in Miami with the BTC 2022 conference. And at the center of the action is Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, who opened the conference declaring that Bitcoin should be a part of every aspect of society this year. Joining us now to discuss further is Mayor Francis Suarez in Miami. Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you so much. It's fun to be with you guys, as always.
It's great to have you back on the show. So Miami has been talking so much about Bitcoin for a while now. Can we just get a quick status report? You know, there's been various Bitcoin initiatives that Miami has announced. What are the status of some of these initiatives, and what are some of the most sort of tangible success stories that you have right now?
Well, I think one of the most tangible success stories is the fact that our employees are now able to get paid in Bitcoin. I've been getting paid in Bitcoin since November of last year. Every single paycheck I've had since November has been in Bitcoin. And it's been actually quite fortuitous because it was at 38. Now it's somewhere in the 40s. I think it was at high of 46, and now it's probably somewhere in the 43s. But yeah, I mean, it's been great for me. We've had other employees get paid in Bitcoin. So that's been, a major achievement. And I think that goes to the whole issue of trying to, make sure that Bitcoin is part of our everyday society. We want to get to a point where, every restaurant is accepting Bitcoin, every convenience store is accepting Bitcoin. But, NBC Nightly News just did a report, I think yesterday, where they were talking about yachts being sold on Bitcoin and some restaurants and bars in some of our neighborhoods already accepting Bitcoin and are actually getting customers that are doing it. So I think, there isn't another city that I'm aware of on the planet that is actually utilizing Bitcoin more than we are.
So, Mayor, I have to ask you about MiamiCoin, which sort of came into the world with some big promises, but, the price has gone down. And, even though the city has gotten some revenue from it, it hasn't necessarily been so great for investors. Just what's your prognosis of MiamiCoin? How do you feel about how it's doing? Lessons learned? I mean, let's just have some real talk about MiamiCoin.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said lessons learned. I think when you're trying to create, an understanding that, Miami, the city, is not involved in the creation of it. We don't create the tokenomics of it. We are sort of an ancillary beneficiary of it, right? In terms of the mining revenue, a percentage of it goes into a digital wallet that we can use. And we have used it. We used $5 million to create a rent stabilization program. So that's the good. The bad, from my perspective, is that I think it's too inflationary, which means it prioritizes too much the mining as between the ultimate buyer, right? And every coin, every token has to have some level of money creation to support the mining function. Otherwise, you can't create a benefit for the mine. But if you compare, let's say, for example, to Bitcoin, which has 19 million approximately issued Bitcoins in 13 years, MiamiCoin has issued 3.6 billion MiamiCoin in less than a year. That's not going to support a price level. So that's my view of it. I think if they had the tokenomics right, certainly the demand is there. People want it. It has created a tremendous buzz. It's a great idea, but like with every like you said, like with every project that's a technological project, you have to get all the dynamics right. And I think that dynamic is a little out of whack.
So, Mayor Suarez, the Bitcoin Maxis that are surrounding you this week, they must be saying something to you about it. Have you at least acknowledged, if you said, okay, you know what, Bitcoin is the king, and that Miami should focus its attention on Bitcoin, possibly ETH, but primarily on the majors for now to attract businesses, to attract technological innovation, to use it within even the city government. In terms of lessons learned, is that the lesson you've learned, that maybe you're going to be more of a Bitcoin maxi?
Well, Bitcoin is the king, and I've always been a Bitcoin maxi. I think, I think the issue is that, one of the things that was even from the MiamiCoin project was it was going to shoot off a Bitcoin yield, which we are probably still likely going to distribute with the additional $10 or $15 million that's in the digital wallet to our residents. So there will be a Bitcoin component to this project, and it also hashes onto the Bitcoin blockchain, which is the most secure, decentralized blockchain on the planet. So I think, again, I love the word Bitcoin maximalist because that means in all respects, But I think that the beauty of it is there's a lot of Bitcoin related projects, and I consider MiamiCoin to be one of them, that test the different limits of how you can use and leverage the Bitcoin blockchain and Bitcoin itself. So I think I don't think they're inconsistent. I actually, believe it or not, I think it's crazy sometimes too. But I actually had a lot of people in the Bitcoin conference telling me how amazing MiamiCoin is. So I can't explain it all the time, but I'm always very sincere with them about it.
I'm curious because Bitcoin maximalism for some means that you believe in Bitcoin as the one true coin and no other coin. So are you saying that, I don't know, you're not a fan of Ethereum, of other alternative cryptocurrencies?
No, I think it's like everything in technology, right? I think the Bitcoin has shown itself, demonstrated itself over time to be the asset class that's gained the most value. Has the most broadest acceptance, is the most decentralized and stable, has proven to be unhackable as a blockchain, right? And so, when you think about utilizing a cryptocurrency, I think everybody should throw their weight behind Bitcoin because it's the one that has the most mainstream potential. And I think when you talk about the macro benefits, like reining in government spending, like being used as something that can pierce through authoritative regimes, particularly socialistic regimes. When you talk about democratizing investments, I mean, those are all three macro benefits that we haven't even fully tapped into when it comes to Bitcoin. When it comes to other technologies like Ethereum, Algorand, Cardano, Solana, I mean, those are all I think technologies that you're going to be able to build a tremendous amount of applications on top of, right? Whether it be smart contracts, whether it be tokenization projects that I think are going to have value for sure.
Okay. And, when you were last on our show, you announced a Bitcoin dividend through MiamiCoin given to residents of the citizens of Miami. I wonder, what kind of crypto initiatives you see going forward into getting more Bitcoin adoption?
Well, for me, the big one I'm focusing on right now is on April 19th. We're having a crypto conference for mayors. I'm the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and I think we're in, a legislative, what I call an opportunity zone, right, where the president of the United States has issued an executive order to study crypto. I think it's been known that members of his administration have had a certain level of hostility towards crypto. And we think that might be changing. And my hope is that by speaking through the mayors of the United States, we're going to be able to send a message to Washington that we want Washington to be pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin, and that we see this as a generational opportunity. We never want to agree with China and Russia on anything, but certainly not on banning Bitcoin, on banning mining. We want to make sure that the United States is leading the way because, frankly, it's not just about me. It's about my children. I have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, and it's about their unborn children and grandchildren, right? This is a generational opportunity, and we as a country have an opportunity to step into that, lean into that, as Miami has done, and we've seen in the last 2 years the byproduct of doing that and the benefit of doing that, or deciding to go the way of China and Russia. I just don't see the benefit of that.
So looking back so far, what's your proudest achievement when it comes to crypto in Miami? When you look at it and you say, you know what, that's the thing that I want to tout. What has happened in Miami under your administration that you think has furthered the most, or has been an example of what you want done for the rest of your administration?
I think for me, it's being branded the crypto capital of the world, right? We went from a city that was sun and fun, and we made it a city of weight. I mean, yesterday we had the crypto bull. I think you had TradeStation on right before me. We're changing the image of Miami as a place where you can do serious definance business. And I think, whether it's a $200 million FTX sponsorship of the arena, whether it's, blockchain.com and eToro locating their domestic headquarters in Miami. And by the way, a variety of other ones that want to, funds like Galaxy that are trying to move to Miami or that are going to move to Miami, whether it's the fact that the Bitcoin conference itself moved from Los Angeles to Miami. It's 50,000 attendees, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in economic in economic development for our city. I mean, those are all things that matter to people's lives, right? We talk about a lot of these technologies in the abstract. They may do this, they may do that. We think they're going to do this. These are things that have actually happened already and have already benefited our city. So we have completely dominated the space. And we're going to continue to dominate the space by being creative, by not being afraid to innovate, even if at times you don't succeed or it doesn't, at least the success isn't evident at the beginning. When you look at the evolution of Bitcoin, how many times have we seen Bitcoin haters, right? Like if the price drops a few $1,000s, oh my God, Bitcoin's over. We're never, and then all of a sudden the price rebounds and then everybody's, Bitcoin's the best thing in the world. The price drops again and everybody starts criticizing Bitcoin. I mean, it's frustrating. I'm sure it's frustrating for you guys. It's frustrating for me when I see that, because I think it's a misunderstanding of the fundamentals of what the technology is about.
So there's another mayor, of course. There's a new mayor in the Northeast in New York, Mayor Adams. And as you know, he's, and we've discussed this before, he's trying to at least take some of your thunder. I'm not saying this for the ratings, but do you want to say anything to Mayor Adams that maybe, like get into a feud while you're on our air?
Yeah, I'm going to tell him, listen, stop being anti-mining in your city. That's not a good idea. You know what I mean? Mining is something that can be done in a carbon neutral fashion. It's something that generates a tremendous amount of revenue. It's something that's a high tax activity, and it's something that it creates tremendous employment. So don't be anti-mining. And if anyone is whispering in your ear something not silly like that or some nonsense, give me a call. He has my number. He and I talk all the time. I love him. He's my brother. He is an amazing person, and I think New York is lucky to have him. And I'm lucky to have the relationship that I have with him. And I hope he's going to be down. I'm pretty sure he's going to be down on April 19th to headline this conference.
Any mayors you don't like?
So
just asking.
I'm the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I have to like all my mayors.
It's got to be one.
By the way,
what do you think?
I'll tell you something that will surprise you. There are more mayors who have dedicated more resources in their internals to monitoring in a positive way the crypto sort of the crypto ecosystem in their city than you would think. And I'll give you one example, the mayor of Chicago. I went to Chicago with zero expectation, and I met with her deputy mayor, and they're telling me how many African-American Hispanics in Chicago own crypto accounts. It's incredible. So, I think it's actually surprising. It would surprise you to know how many mayors are on the pulse of this issue.
While we're talking about New York, I just have to return to this bull again for a moment. If Miami is, trying to kind of set itself apart and be like at the sort of vanguard of this new thing, why would you choose a symbol that is so associated with New York? Like, why would you want sort of the second most famous bull? It's like, why not do something totally different?
Well, I think after today, it's the first most famous bull because it got a tremendous amount of coverage yesterday. And I think it's what it's saying is, look, our world is about advancement. Right? We went from the Industrial Revolution to now the technological revolution, what we're seeing. So it's a metamorphosis. I think what it symbolizes is a metamorphosis from the old economy to the new economy. And of course, this is something that TradeStation did. I didn't do it, their idea. To be honest with you, I wasn't sure that it would get this kind of publicity. It has gotten incredible mainstream publicity. I think that's great for the Bitcoin community because it highlights what Bitcoin is. To the extent that there's people that don't know what Bitcoin is, which I think at this point there are very few, this is a great mainstream opportunity for us to attract more people to Bitcoin. Somebody was telling me the other day that 1 in 6 Americans has a crypto account. That's 1 in 5, 60 million Americans, and it takes 80 million to elect a president. So we're getting there.
So the fact that it's not anatomically correct, even though it's a robot bull, that doesn't bother you as the mayor of Miami, where
I can tell you in Miami, we have big balls. That's all I can tell you.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And we've spoken to other mayors in Latin American countries, and we got the sillies going on, and they've cited you as an inspiration for getting more crypto-related adoption in Latin America. I believe we spoke to the mayor of Sao Paulo, I wonder. So are you hearing from other countries? I mean, last year, the big announcement was that El Salvador was going to make Bitcoin legal tender. And I wonder if you've been speaking to folks in other Latin American countries about, is there going to be another follow-up country that will make Bitcoin legal tender?
Look, I respect El Salvador a lot, and I respect what they're doing. Miami is an incredible worldwide brand, right? And in the most powerful country in the world. So we have an outsized reputation when it comes to innovation. So you're talking about Sao Paulo, but I just got a text message this morning from a friend of mine in California saying that everybody in California is talking about it. Last week I was in the Middle East. Everyone in Israel, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE was talking about Miami. So this Miami story, what I call the miracle, which has layered on top of it a massive crypto component, is something that I can tell you, I guarantee you, has had worldwide reach. There is no greater evangelist for crypto and for Bitcoin than the city of Miami and than myself. And that is having a more profound reach in the world. I know it doesn't sound like a very humble thing to say, but I'm speaking from a position of being around the world and hearing it from a variety of people. And so it's humbling. It is humbling and it is inspiring, because it means that listen, there's been a lot of times people told me, you're crazy. Why are you doing this? Don't do this. You know what I mean? Your career is going well. You're doing phenomenal. You don't need this. You don't need to go into this. And the truth is that I do need to go into it. Our country needs to go into it. My family needs it because it's their future that's at stake. And I think that's what people oftentimes don't understand. We're in a generational worldwide inflection point. Leadership is transitioning from one generation to the other, and people are paying attention to what we're doing across the world.
So I think you're right. I think that Miami's example definitely has spread throughout the world. We've heard that on our show. And, with great power comes great responsibility. So just to wrap up, could you, since you are, people are looking at Miami, could you tell us quite simply, what would you have done differently, like mistake Miami made, just so other cities that are trying to emulate this can learn from your example? What would you have done different in all of this?
So, I think the only thing that I can identify that's something I would have done differently is we would have, we did a lot of due diligence on MiamiCoin, a lot. Really could identify this inflationary tokenomics issue. We actually discovered it ourselves because we couldn't, we were seeing a ton of demand and we were getting a lot of calls from people that were buying significant amounts of it. And we just couldn't understand why the price wasn't being supported. It just didn't make sense to us. So, we sort of discovered this. We related to the creators of it and said, hey, look, we think there's an issue here. And they're supposedly working on it. So I think that's one thing that I would say is just, always do due diligence on any project that you're doing. Obviously, you do the best that you can. I think people, have to understand that in this environment, in every environment, whenever you're investing money, there's risk. And I think this is a thing that kind of bothers me. There's this idea or this notion that you can never lose, right? Like if you lost money or you lose, something bad had to have happened. No, that's not the way. That's not necessarily the truth, right? When you risk money, a percentage of your return and how big your return is a function of risk. Another percentage is a function of inflation. We can have another long conversation about inflation and the impacts on crypto. But a function of it is risk. Risk means it's a risk you win and there's a risk you lose. And that influences your rate of return. And so what bothers me is, and oftentimes happens in the press, is people are like, well, this person lost some money. Well, okay, that happens. You risk your money. Sometimes you make money. Sometimes you lose money. Otherwise, you wouldn't. If that weren't the case, then you wouldn't have a return. Your return would be what you're getting in a bank right now, which is zero, negligible percentage in an inflationary economy where you're losing purchasing power and money's basically being taken account every single day.